But again, if your company gives you 100% insurance, you have to also consider when you leave that company. Those few days when you are not at the other company where you're moving to. So there are times where you will need medicine and you have not planned for it. In finance or in life, you have to plan for the worst case scenario and hope for the best. That's the simple theory of life. Plan for the worst. Like the worst is I'll fall sick every week. But I've never fallen sick since 2008. But I plan that every week I'll fall sick. I'll get flu. How much is the other medicine for flu? Maybe it is 200. Pay yourself first, never spend fast, and invest what is left. So that's the golden rule. You pay yourself first, which is the 20% or the 30% of saving or investment. And if they allow you to pay on the 10,000, if they allow you to pay 5,000, pay only 5,000. Don't say because I have 100,000 for paying loans, now I'm going to pay him 10,000. The whole 10,000. This is being selfish, I may say, but you first become selfish to yourself before thinking about the others. That is the finance world. You become selfish to yourself. If you can't afford to pay 20% of the car you're buying, then don't buy it. That is the first sign that you can't afford it. The second rule, if you can't pay the car in 4 years, then you can't afford it. Now, banks trick you. They give you 5 years. But 5 years is a stretch. The title is cash flow, asset acquisition and investment, right? It's not the other way around where we had said asset acquisition, cash flow, then investment. So our question now would be, why did I say asset acquisition, investment and cash flow, not as the poster said? So we say that the reason is, maybe no one has answered, the reason is because these 7 pillars have a flow, like they have rules, the way they follow. You can't acquire one, then acquire the other one. You have to follow a certain roadmap. And so wealth creation flows exactly in a sequence of cash flow, then asset acquisition, then investment. The other 4 are supporting pillars. They are supporting pillars of the 3. So cash flow is supported by the other 4. And so what is cash flow first of all? What is cash flow? Anyone? Even though we have the answer there, so cash flow is the engine. It's if you have a car without an engine, would you say that you have a car? But you have everything set up, all the wires in there, but you don't have an engine. So that's the cash flow. You may have all the knowledge in this world to know about money, everything, but when you don't have the cash flow, then it's knowledge, yes, but you have no use to it, isn't it? So the cash flow, you have to master the receipts and disbursements to generate the dictatable monthly surplus. So this is what you have to know in order to manage your cash flow. You master what you receive. What you receive is your income, your daily income, your monthly income, wherever you get your money, isn't it? Then versus how you spend it. How you're going to spend it is also matters, because you may receive millions and billions and waste them. Then the second one is asset acquisition, which is the foundation of going to be wealthy, right? Yes. And so asset acquisition is converting the surplus cash. Now you have received the money above for cash flow. You have already mastered how to distribute it. But now the second thing is you have surplus. You have something that is remaining, which is what you saved, isn't it? Thank you. Which is what you saved. And now you're converting the surplus cash into tangible ownerships. What are tangible ownerships, you may ask? Yes. Another one? What is a tangible? Is it a tangible? Can you touch it? Yes. You can touch and say, my run stops here. Eh? Another tangible asset. Would you call a car an asset? Yeah. Hey, now I've seen people know about money. Why am I even here? The people already know things. We already know why. So, as we said, we convert the surplus cash into tangible ownership, then home equity, capital assets, then things. Home equity, those are English words that are very fancy, but mean simple things. Equity is what you have, isn't it? Yes. Now they had to come up with the word that is very confusing. So then we go to the third one, investment. So investment, in a simple word, it's what the compounding assets to multiply return. That's the simple definition. You don't have to do the other things you do in high school where you write paragraphs of defining it. So investments is about compounding what you have. If you have, let's say what? You have one bottle of water, you compound it until it multiplies and becomes 2 and 3, something like that. Then we go to the supporting pillars. I'm going to go through first those supporting pillars. There's debt management, risk protection, tax, and estate planning, and legacy governance. We're going to see where all these 4 support the 3. Next one. So we go to pillars. Pillar 1 is cash flow. So you creating a predictable monthly surplus. So as everyone is coming, we said cash flow is the engine. Is the engine of our car. Our car is our life. The car is now, we have changed now the naming of the cash flow. We have put it into a perspective of our life. So cash flow is the engine of our life. And to creating a predictable monthly surplus through structured budgeting and cash clarity. So the income, which is the inflow, can be salary, can be a business, can be a side hustle, can be a rental income, can be even dividends. Don't know if everyone is conversant about the word dividends. In simple words, dividends is what you're paid from your investment. Return on investment is what it's called as dividend. Everyone understand? You done? So now we are going to go to the first question, and we say, be honest to yourself. So there is cash flow. What exactly percentage of your monthly income went to what? Last month. Most of the people are about to receive salary or have already received salary. And not asking about this month's salary because you may be remembering. And what about those who are employed? Do you know? You can answer do you know what exactly went about your money last month's income? Do you? You can try. You can. That's good. And how about you? So there are three answers: yes, and roughly I can guess, and no, I have no idea. So it's 1, 2, 3. 1 is yes, I know. 2 is rough, I can guess, which is his answer. And 3 is I have no idea. Who says number 1? Yes, I know. I know where my money went. We have, I think, 3. Yes? And who says roughly? Roughly, I can guess. To me, that is very good because now I am bringing an idea. Now, to the 3 that have answered yes, I don't know what I'm going to add to you, but I'll try. Then, who says no? I have no idea. But this question goes to those that are employed. I know there are students. So there is no one that says no. This is a good answer because at least we have a rough idea of where our money went to. Go back to the presentation. This is good to know since everyone at least has a rough idea of where their money went to. Right? So, to our presentation, so we're going to show you what we are expected to be doing in budgeting. So the architecture of budgeting is very simple, but in finance or in budgeting or business, or making sure that money, you know where your money goes. There are formulas. So people that hate math, I'm very sorry. There are a lot of calculations here. So go to the next. So we have 3 categories. We have needs, we have wants, and the third one, which is saving and investment. So the need is, what is a need? Who would explain in simple words what is a need? Very good. That's a very good answer. A very simple and good answer. It's something that you can live with, you can't live without. An example is, nowadays you need a house where to stay. That is rent. Or you buy a house. You need food. Those are needs. But they also have to get percentages. You don't have to have like 50% of your income going to food. Or getting 50% of your income going to renting. There's another rule for money. When you're renting, so that you keep within your means, because there are people that go away from their means. They want to live in a fancy house. Yes, you live in that fancy house, but for a short period. this is where these rules apply. There's 50% for the needs. The needs are covered, all your needs, not only the house. There's also the food, there's the transport, there's utilities, that is water, electricity, all that. Those are the ones that, and even medicine, you have mentioned it there. Even though I don't normally fall sick, but I also plan for medicine. I think I last went to the hospital in 2008, but I still plan for that because it's a need. One day, 1 hour, I'll wake up sick, and I need that money. You don't trust insurance because even the insurance doesn't cover everything. Maybe if you have 100% insurance. But again, if your company gives you 100% insurance, you have to also consider when you leave that company. Those few days when you are not at the other company where you're moving to. So there are times where you will need medicine and you have not planned for it. In finance or in life, you have to plan for the worst case scenario and hope for the best. That's the simple theory of life. Plan for the worst. Like the worst is I'll fall sick every week. But I've never fallen sick since 2008. But I plan that every week I'll fall sick. I'll get flu. How much is the other medicine for flu? Maybe it is 200. 200 times 4, that is 800. No, yes, 800. So I keep the 800. Make sure that at least at home I have 1,000. I have 1,000 that if I fall sick, I'm able to get that flu medicine. That money is there. It can be in my wallet for, even in my wallet, if I go there in my bag, I'll find my wallet never misses at least 5,000. For those things, that the small things, the small emergencies. Then we go to the wants. The wants are things, everyone has their wants. They are very different, and they depends on who you are and where you grew up from, and the environment that you grew up in. Those are the ones that shape your wants. Someone that grew up in a village will not want a smartphone. Is it true? You say, what will I use it for now? If you give me like a button, as long as I can call someone, I am good. So the ones are shaped by the environment you live in or you grew up in. Then we go to, and so these ones, they also take a percentage. You can put them to 20 if you're a person that controls yourself. If you know that me and alcohol were not friends, me, if I say I don't want to go out, I don't go out even if people tell me to go. That's where I put the 20%. So there is dinner outings. You can go for dinner, or you can stay home and cook the food that you have bought. So if you know that you can be controlled by wanting to go out, plan for 30. If you know that you can control it, then plan with the 20. So there's dinner outing, traveling, entertainment, subscriptions like for Netflix, and which one? Which other subscription is there? Yes, the internet, there's airtime, yes. All those subscriptions. There's a pack for a month, for the one. So you plan for. So traveling is not included in the. It's not the same as going to office. No. Traveling is when you say, this traveling I'm meaning here is when you want to go maybe to the village, when you want to go maybe visit a friend. Yeah, you want to go to Gisenyi. Yeah. So this is the traveling I'm talking about. And the saving is covered by 20%. 20% if you say that I can't afford, I'm controlled by life, I am going to give the ones 30%. And if you know that you can control yourself, the savings can go to 30. So it all depends on how you know yourself. And these things, you have to be honest with yourself. Because you sit by yourself and tell yourself, honestly, I know I can't spend a week without meeting people. If I don't go out, I feel sick. I feel uncomfortable. Be honest with yourself. Don't try to yourself, I'm under control. Then next week you're out, isn't it? So the golden rule of money, I think they already taught you about it. I thought I was bringing up a new thing is pay yourself first, never spend fast, and invest what is left. So that's the golden rule. You pay yourself first, which is the 20% or the 30% of saving or investment. And the second one is pay your future self first, never spend fast, and invest what is left. So paying yourself is in two ways. You can pay yourself by investing that money, or you can pay yourself by planning for the money you get. So it depends on the perspective you put it in. If you haven't been planning, paying yourself is planning for what you received, what you receive. Because you're paying for your future self. If you don't plan today, you'll suffer 5 years, 3 years in time. Now, if you have planned the money, now paying yourself in that perspective is what you had said of saving first, then spend the money, the rest. Yes, you have followed this plan, but the rule is start down. Start by saving, then go up. Go to the first one. Don't cover the needs first. Save first, because you have already planned. You know how much groceries cost. You know how much your rent is. You have already planned for it. And if I had my laptop, it would be very easy, but we will be switching, no problem. So there's a format I'll give you for planning for your money. It's very simple. Just put in the money, plan before you spend. Then secondly, when you receive the money, fill in the data, spend the money on paper. Nowadays, a long time ago they used to tell us, write it down with a pen and paper. But nowadays, to make it very simple, just type it in your phone. See the zeros reducing. If you receive 500,000 and you see the money reducing, then you know that you don't have money. You have to plan for it properly, isn't it? So this is where now the other pillars I've mentioned, pillar 4 and 5, support the other pillar number 1. So the step 1, so the 4 pillars are risk protection and debt management, which is a protective shield, that's how we call it. The protective shield is like, what do we call a protective shield in simple language? When you put on, those warriors, long time ago when you used to go to war, you would put on armor. In Gabo, and you put on armor, you have a shield, you have your spear. So yes, you have the cash flow. You have now the income, but now you need antibody, as he has mentioned it, so that all those things, that the temptations that come in, all those temptations that come in, you are protected from them. So you start on emergency cushion. You are seeing this as a lot of money. You start, the plan is now, how do I start protecting my money or all my income? You receive like, let's give an example. Someone who earns like 500,000. That's very good money, right? In Rwanda. It's very good money. If you exchange it in Ugandan shillings, that's 1.2, 1.3 million. You're already a millionaire. You're already a millionaire in Uganda, right? So the first step to financial safety, you save 1 million. This 1 million, it is not going to do anything else other than cover for the other worst case scenarios. You know your worst case scenarios. It may be, I have a family, I want to see, my child is sick, I want to take her to the hospital. Or him. My wife is sick, I want to take her to the hospital. I have been chased from work, I need at least survival for 1 month. Or I am sick, I need different type of food or different medicine. This is the 1 million you need to save. It is that money, don't touch it when your salary delays to come. No. That money, don't touch it when your brother tells you, I wanted to go out, but I just need 20K. You don't touch this money when you have those small problems. This money, you forget it. I'll show you where you will put this money. It is just 1 million. It is not just, it is 1 million Rwandan francs. It is not $1,000 or $1 million. It is 1 million. I'll show you where to put it. Some people may say that it is a lot of money. Some people may say it is small money. I can manage it, depending on how much you earn or how much you make. Then the second step is consumer debt elimination. And this one, it is eliminated in a snowball format. They call it snowball elimination method. Those countries, this formula was created by someone outside in those European countries where snow falls. So to make a snowball, you start small, then roll it. As it rolls, it keeps on expanding, becoming big. So the snowball method works in that same way. You start with the smallest loans, those debts that you have. You went to Jean Paul, got sugar for 1,000, the other boutique next to your home. My friend borrowed me 50K. I went to a party and didn't cover this one. All those small ones, you start with those small ones. The explanation is very simple. List non-mortgage loans. So the formula, the non-mortgage is, the reason why I called it non-mortgage is because I expect if you have a mortgage, that should be your biggest loan. Isn't it? If you have a mortgage is a loan for a house, that should be your biggest loan. I don't expect to have someone to have a loan of a car that is bigger than the loan of the house. Is it true? you'd be working the other way around. So you list the non-mortgage debts from smallest balance to largest balance. Pay the minimum on all. So you're not going to pay the smallest only. You're going to pay the minimum you can pay to that person. If they allow you to pay on the 10,000, if they allow you to pay 5,000, pay only 5,000. Don't say because I have 100,000 for paying loans, now I'm going to pay him 10,000. The whole 10,000. This is being selfish, you may say, but you first become selfish to yourself before thinking about the others. That is the finance world. You become selfish to yourself, first care about yourself, then care about the other people second. That is the finance rule. Why am I saying you pay those small pieces to each loan, the smallest piece? If you pay someone, if they see you putting in an effort to pay them, even if it is small money, on the 10,000, if I give you 5,000, you will know that I am serious on paying, but I have not paid you full amount, isn't it? You are managing expectations, or you are managing the people. So you pay it in those formats, then until you finish them all. Then you go to the third. You have covered all your debts. Now no one is knocking on your door except the landlord. Right? Then you build a 3 to 6 months. You remember the other 50 we had said of once, the 50% of once. There's the needs, That's very nice that you're following. So the 50% of needs we had mentioned. You know, there is in that 50% there is the expenses, the living expenses. That includes rent, that includes food. So that 50%, get that 50% times the 6 months if you can manage. If you can't manage, do times 3. Put that money together with the 1 million. But in your month, remember they are very separate. Or you can create different accounts, right? It all depends on how you want to do it. Then there is a step number 4, which you will see in the later slides, which is family and future planning. This is where you also establish dedicated educational reserves for your children. Those are other expenses. That is for the people that have families. If you don't have yet a family, then there's no need. You can plan for it, but it is not an emergency. That's why I didn't include it here. I said this one isn't taken serious by people that aren't married yet, but it is very important for people that are married, like this gentleman here. Yes. So when you've saved like 1 year school fees, an example, you have 1 year worth of school fees for your kid. That one is saved. Remember, if it is 2026, you have all the money for the year of 2026. It's covered. Now, in this 2026, you are saving for 2027. You see the flow? So that's one. I'll also show you how to save it. You go to the next slide. Oh, you have already moved. So you have pillar number 2. You have gone to asset acquisition. Now the cash flow is managed. We have already managed the cash flow. We have planned for our money. We have paid all our debts. and you have saved enough to cater for us for like 6 months, isn't it? Now, if you're fired from your job or your company closes, different scenarios, but either way, you no longer have a job. You can survive for 6 months without even going to your neighbor. Why 6 months? Why am I saying 6 months? 6 months is enough time for someone to look for a job and in a peaceful mind, with a peaceful mind, and is very able to sit and negotiate and not be given peas or pennies. You know, when you go to negotiate for a job and someone tells you, we are going to give you this certain amount. By the way, during another hint I should give people, the first offer is not always the best offer they can give you, even the second offer. But all those things, negotiating, you can do that negotiation when you know you have the other 6 months covered. You can't tell someone who knows that tomorrow he doesn't have food for his kids, you go negotiate. You can't tell someone that. That's why you need that covered. You can't tell someone who knows that his kid next week is going to school and he doesn't have school fees to negotiate. You see? Where do you get, oh, by the way, no one asked me, where do you get all that money that you're saying in 6 months you are saving for school fees? Where do you get all that money? It is in the other 20 and 30% investment. I'll show you the math. The people that hate math, I'm very sorry. I also hate math, but I had to like it because of this. So this is the plan. Now, investment. You're going to asset acquisition and the strategic guardrail. What is a guardrail? Who knows a guardrail? That is the guardrail. That is a guardrail. So, where does, by the way, this metal come in? It is, you bring a metal strategically. So, asset acquisition and strategic guardrail. So, converting the monthly surplus, your monthly surplus is the other 20%. When we say monthly surplus, it's the other savings and investments that we have talked about. 30 or 20%, depending on in Kinyarwanda they say umutima njyanama. Wow, isn't it? What your heart has told you that this is what you should save. But it should be between, you can do 25 by the way. It's not a rule, it has to be 30 or 20. Just do your math properly. Don't go below 20, don't go above 30. By the way, going above is very good. That means you're very serious, I may say. And so this is now people that want to acquire homes, or those people that have mortgages. I tried to break the presentation to give you an idea about at least everything, but about our topic. So now in asset acquisition, you've reached the stage of acquiring a home. Remember, acquiring a home is to all people, not to many people, to all people. That is a very big step in life. When you have a home, when you know no one is looking at your doorstep, that is the most peaceful mind I've ever seen. Me, I haven't owned my home, but I've seen people having peace of mind. People around Wakabyuha just because he has a home, his own home. He gains weight like 10 kgs in 2 weeks. Just because of one thing. Because he knows he has completed his house. So, this is how these people complete their houses. They pay their mortgage, and it is very simple. So, out of the 12 months we have in a year, if you can manage to pay, normally in Rwanda, the mortgages are given at 20, they give you 20 years, right? I think that's the maximum in Rwanda. In other countries, like in the US, they even give you 30 years. But we are talking about in the perspective of Rwanda, where they give you 20 years. If you pay 1 extra month out of the how many you have, the 12, now you're going to pay 13. If you pay 1 extra month, you are reducing your mortgage from 20 years to 15, if not 16 or 15, between there. And if you pay two extra months, now you're adding another 2 years you're reducing another 2 years on the 14, 1.5, so 1 plus 1.5, that makes it 6 minus 20 years, 14 years. Just 1 extra payment. When you hit a deal and people say, we go party, because you have received money you had not planned before, because it happens in life, out of the whole year. You never fail to get a small deed of minimum 100K. Money that you didn't expect that you receive, right? In the whole year. So if you pay 1 extra on your mortgage, you'll reduce 4.5 years. 2 extra payments, you reduce 6.5. If you do, and then you can pay 3 extra payments. That is, you're paying 15 months in a year. You cut it in half. So you can transfer this knowledge to other plans, other loans. It doesn't have to be specifically mortgage. You transfer it to other loans you have. But remember, when negotiating that, making that payment, it has to be on the principal. The principal is the money you have, you received, not the interest they're requesting. Because this is the secret that banks don't want to tell you. You'll never go to the bank and they tell you if you pay it early. Because if you pay it early, you're making them lose money. I work in a bank. I'm sorry I'm betraying my employer, but I hope nobody reports me, right? So the extra payment you make it on the principal. Remember to specify it. If you don't specify, they reduce on the interest and you'd have worked for nothing. You have denied yourself the party for no reason. Yes? Next. So we go to, this one is asset acquisition. Now I started with vehicles. So a vehicle can be in two perspectives. A vehicle can be what earns you income, or it can be what moves you around. So, unless you have taken care of the number one, until you have taken care of number one, which is cash flow planning, don't, I'm not going to say don't, because I will be enemies for many people, but would say it is not a good idea to buy a car when you have not taken care of your cash flow. Why? Because if you haven't taken care of the cash flow, a car is another baby. It is another life that comes in. You are taking care of two lives. Now you have failed to take care of the one life that you have. Now you're going to add in another second life. That is very hard. That will be hard on you. That's where you'll see people walking on the road, speaking alone, scratching their heads. Just not because they don't have money. By the way, people have money. It's not because they don't have money. Not because the cash flow wasn't planned well and protected. If you don't, an example, you can plan for the cash flow. But if you don't protect it, out of nowhere, a problem comes in. You spend 2 months salary in one day. You had planned well. You had planned, budgeted your cash flows properly. But because you did not protect your cash flow, then the whole planning goes away. Your energy runs for no reason. So the rule of buying the car, whether it is for business, whether it is personal, it's that one. 20 by 4 by 10. So the minimum 20% down payment. If you can't afford to pay 20% of the car you're buying, then don't buy it. That is the first sign that you can't afford it. The second rule, if you can't pay the car in 4 years, then you can't afford it. Now, banks trick you. They give you 5 years. But 5 years is a stretch. 5 years, your car has already lost value. Even if you sell it, you'll sell it at maximum half of the price you've bought it. That is if you've taken care of that baby very well. And the third rule is keep total vehicle cost under 10% of the income. So now the car has gone in the other 50% because now the car has become a need. So keep it under 10%, the expenses of the car. By the way, one sign that you need to buy a car, someone here will prove me right or wrong. One of the signs that you can afford to buy a car is when your transport costs can pay a loan of the car and you have balance. One of the signs that you need to buy a car. Now it becomes a need. Why? If it can reduce on your transport costs. An example I can give. If you spend in a month on transport like 100,000, let's give an example of 100,000, and let's do the math of 100,000 and you give on a loan of maybe 15%, you can get a car of 30 million. That is where you can afford it. That's where it becomes a need. Why? It can be covered within your expenses and it can save a lot. Now a car becomes a what? A need. It is no longer an expense. That's why it is number one. It can be a want if your transport costs are below the cost of owning a car. So again, wa mutima njyanama uzakwicaza ukakubwira ngo you can afford the car because of this information you have. By the way, this heart of ours tells us things even without even doing the math. It tells you, but now you have to put in the math. Why? Because it can lie to you. It can tell you you need the car because your friend has bought the car. It saw him and just ignored it, but it kept it and said, you also need the car. And someone is flexing on you. So these rules and plus that rule I've given you, if you do the math and you see your transport costs are above what you can pay to own that car, even if it is netting it. If your transport cost is 100,000 and the loan costs 100,000, you need to buy the car because expenses costs are increasing, they are not reducing. If you can maintain the price by buying the car, maintaining it is by fixing it. You see, an example can be you buy the car and you know my fuel prices are 80,000. If I put in repairs, something, it goes to 100,000, something like that. That's the math you do. Then we go to the housing, the mortgage we have talked about. Now, mortgage has to be 30%, not above 30%. It can be renting or it can be buying. Why is it 30%? Now, the 30% is part of the other 50. So 30, if you do the math, if you add the 20 and the 30, you have already spent without buying food. You already bought a car and a house, now you don't have food this. You eat your house. So, the rule of the car, of the house is 30% of your net income. Net income is not the money that is in your contract. Net income is the money you receive and have in your pocket and you're ready to spend. Because I know on some contracts they can put there 500,000, but there are contributions you make at work, there's those breakfasts, that money you have to remove it. That is not your net income. That is still your gross income. Most people don't see those things, but they are very important because you may write yourself that you are earning a lot of money, yet you are not earning it. If you deduct those small expenses, maybe they are always small, you may find they are 2,000, they are 1,000. They tell you the birthdays, and you contribute 20,000 or 2,000, those expenses. You have to remove them. That is not your money because you cannot refuse to pay that money. Any amount of money that you cannot say no to is not your money. Even rent, you can say no to it by moving to another house. Right? You are in a house of 100,000 or 200,000. You say, no, I don't want to pay this money. I go to 100,000. That is no. But at your office, can you say no to that 2K of birthdays? You can't. So that is gross. You can't say no to pension contribution. That is not your money. That is why they call it gross. Now they write to you, again as the employer, you want to, I'm sorry if there is an HR here. But they tell you your net income is 500,000. But you get to the office, they say, by the way, we do contribution for this. They tell you one thing. Next week they come tell you, by the way, we do contribution for this thing. When you add those 2,500, you find it is 10K. Out of the 500,000 you are earning, you had planned for, you had done good math, it is netting 100%. 500,000 is spent well. Now they remove 10,000. 10,000 is what? Transport for a week. Now you have transport for 3 weeks, and yet you have to go to work for 4 weeks. You see how now your cash flow has died, just out of considering small, not considering the small things. Then you go to the debt ceiling. Now, you can't live in this world without having debt. People that are successful in life are successful because of debt. But again, getting debt, you have to think about it also. You don't put 100% of your income in debt also. Like you find you earn 100,000 and the whole 100,000 goes and you take another debt. That is not ideal. Why? Because what if that person that has been giving you the debt says, this month I'm not giving you that debt? Will you survive? No. You will not survive. So the rule of 40% is the maximum you can get in debts is 40% of your income. Why? Because this one can be covered in 2 months straight in the other savings. It can be covered in 2 months if you want to pay it throughout. If people say, no, I want my money, the whole money at a go, I can give you a plan and say, this month I'm giving you this amount, next month I'm giving you this amount, and someone can understand. Because if I get a loan and I tell someone that I will pay you in 2 months and I'll be paying you in 2 phases, that is a very good and understandable payment plan that is very easy to be accepted. But when it goes above 3-4 months, someone starts questioning, will you actually pay me? So that's the rule. Then we go to the pillar number 3. People that hate math. By the way, who are the people that hate math? Who hates math? Sorry, but there is that formula. You're seeing this formula? This formula is very fancy, but it is very easy. So there is a rule of 72. So now we have gone to investing. The rule of 72 is how long it takes you to double your money. You have put the money in an investment somewhere. You've worked with big capital, you've invested it somewhere that gives you a consistent return on that investment. A consistent, I mean, is if they tell you they are going to give you 10%, they are consistent. Either they go above that 10% or they stay on 10%. So the rule of 72 says 72% divided by the interest rate they are giving you. You get how many years your money will double. That money will double without you putting in any other money in those years. What I mean by that is, if you save 1 million, for that 1 million to double, it is that rule. You put there 1 million and keep quiet. That 1 million will double. Now, this is where you put the other 1 million I've told you about. Why are we putting it here? Because of inflation. Now, with money, you have to consider a lot of things. Yes, I am saving 1 million, but again, who remembers how much we used to buy, what is the simplest thing? There's sweet, there are these sweets, big bones. There's a sweet that was red and wrapped in a red paper. Who knows that sweet? How much does it cost now? 150. Now, 10 years, it used to cost like 50. And another 10 years, me in 2006-7, we used to buy it at 20 francs. I was in primary, we used to buy it at 20 francs. Now it is at 150. But it is the same sweet. By the way, it has reduced. The chewing gum that is in there now has reduced. Isn't it true? Now the chewing gum has reduced. So now it is costing more and even less value. So this is where you want to put, you find an investment bracket or investment institution that is very safe to put that money that will generate you that interest, to safeguard it, to protect it against inflation and not for the money to lose value. Because every day you keep money, it loses value. Every day. When I say every day, I mean not even every day, every hour. Every hour your money, you have it in your pocket and you're not making a decision, it is losing value. If you're keeping money for saving today and it has not been saved, you have lost that money. It has lost value. Why am I saying that it has lost value? There are investment institutions like BK Capital. We have an investment fund that is called Agoka. Now I'm starting to market for BK Capital. So that Agoka, or even there is a Terambere fund, or there is also there is another one, Ejo Heza. So these three, they are now coming in. There is another one that came in recently registered with CME. Those funds, they calculate their interest on a daily basis. They calculate their interest on a daily basis. So every day you keep your money there, you gain interest. So the more you keep it there, the more interest you get. So that's the formula, and that's the 72 rule. And the 72, please go back. The other 72 rule down there, it's when you add in some money now. When you do top up. So 72 divided by 10 years, in 7.2 years, the 5 million will double to 10 million. And we go to the next. So now I'm going to save you. This is the inflation, 70 inflation rate years until purchase power cuts in half. So when you use this formula, it gives you how long it takes your money to reduce in value, to cut in half. Like the other suit, now it was at 20 francs, now it goes to 120. You use this formula to get how many years your money will lose value. It cuts in half. Like something that you used to buy for 1,000 and now you buy it at 2,000. That's the formula. You go to the next one. So now people that have families, this is where I wanted to get to. So people that have families, this is a very nice like household account execution model. Why am I saying that this is very important for people that have families? If you have a family and both of you earn money, having this in mind will the idea of where your strengths are and where your weaknesses are. There are people that know that my strength is in saving, mostly women. Women are very good at saving. So they can take partner B. And women are good at planning for risks. That's why they take partner B. Then partner A is for men, cover the needs and the growth of the home. The assets, you buy assets. So this is the breakdown of the income. And number 3 is the joint couple account, where now the balance of the other breakdown goes to that combined 50% of the joint couple account. Next. So now, okay. So the conclusion for today, if I have spoken a lot of words and you haven't gotten anything, you haven't gotten anything at all in the whole presentation, or you just arrived, just get this on. Cash flow creates monthly surplus. That means planning for cash flow, it creates the monthly surplus. Why does it create monthly surplus? When you plan for your money, you can easily identify where you have been losing it. You can easily identify where you have been spending a lot or less. Then, protecting and debt management, it safeguards the surplus and insulates against shocks. The shocks are the unexpected happenings. Your child falls sick, you fall sick, there is a barrier you want to go to in the village, someone has died. All emergencies, all those shocks. Then asset acquisition, you convert cash into equity. Remember, you acquire assets for what? For your better future. So you convert the cash into equity. Equity is what you own. Because money is not yours. Money is for the government. So in the investments, multiply capital through compounding. The compounding is the one absolutely on the 72 rule. The compounding interest rule is the 72 rule. Then tax, estate, and legacy, you preserve wealth and transition it into the next generation. Because what you do today has an impact on your great-grandchild. Not even your grandchild or your child, great-grandchild. Whatever you do today, if you save 1,000, just know you are helping not your son, not your grandchild, but your great-grandchild. And the last key takeaway is, don't say you don't have money. Say I didn't what? Track it well. So, yes, got that QR code. You can scan it and you'll see a very small draft Excel that will help you to track your expenses. I've put it there open now that everyone can download it. Don't edit in that one. Just copy it and create your own Excel. So you can see above, there is a proposed budget and actual budget. So the proposed budget, you do it before you receive the money. An example is you're going to receive your income on 30th. So from 1st of the previous month to 29th, that is when you are allowed to do adjustment on the proposed budget. Then after that, you go to the actual budget. When you receive the money, start with the saving, And savings are in the bracket of needs. Not that I've put it in the bracket of needs because you should consider saving or investment as a need, as something that you can't live without, because it will help you in the future. And wants are down there. I've put there a few wants. You'll note that I've tried to list at least everything that I think is a need, but you can also add or edit or remove what you want through that formula. Now, lastly but not least, we have this question. Where do you feel most of your financial energy goes to right now? So you'll answer it yourself. And you can... This is also a question you need to ask. And now, out of what I have presented, what is the one thing that you think you should focus on out of the 3 pillars that you have found out? Is it investment, is it asset acquisition, or is it cash flow? It depends. Everyone cash flow. Hey, at least there should be someone for investment. The friend is not going for investment. Then the last one. What is the single most urgent financial rule you plan to apply starting this week? What is the one rule you can say that you want to start with? That is my last question. You can answer it loudly or you can keep it in your heart. And talk to the man inside or the woman inside. And no one is going to speak it out loud.
So for me, I'll just track my money. That's the rule.
The number one. Now use that Excel to track the money and see if it makes a change in your life. But remember to follow the order. Number one is what? Cash flow, then asset acquisition. Don't buy land when you haven't managed your cash flow. Why am I saying don't buy land? Because you will end up selling that land. You end up selling it at even a loss because you need cash flow. Because you didn't plan properly the cash flow, you'll end up selling it. Now your plan has failed. Your asset acquisition plan has failed. With that, thank you very much. And if you have any questions for me, please bring them on.